Hello, I'm DOG Louis. It's the most wonderful time of year, and this is finally the review for the Hori Racing Wheel for Xbox One. So, I'm going to start with some of the positives, because there are actually some, and they mainly come from this little thing. Now, the design of these pedals is actually pretty decent. They've put some thought into it. I like how the bottom folds out, which means it stays easier. I had a wheel for the Xbox 360, the official one, and it always slid around very easily. But this has some nice rubber contacts on the bottom, and it means that it always stays very firmly in place, whatever surface you're using it on. The pedals themselves go down pretty easily, which means that it might be tough if you're used to want to apply a bit of finesse. But you do get used to it over time. I've spent a bit of time using this wheel, and by the end of my use of it anyway, I got to a point where I could put on low power if I wanted to. I could ramp it up to high, depending on whatever I wanted to do. Okay, so Blake Caution asked whether this was a 900-degree wheel. Thanks for the question, Blake, but unfortunately no. And that is very unfortunate. This wheel literally turns 90 degrees either way, maximum. Total 180 degree turning circle, which is absolutely appalling, even for a cheap wheel. Also, the amount of resistance from the wheel, very, very little, which just means that you feel like you're not holding anything. And it's a shame the wheel can't turn more, because if it could turn more, it may have actually helped solve one of its other problems, which CJT Motor Racing asked a question about. You asked whether the wheel has force feedback. Thanks for the question, and unfortunately, no, it doesn't. This means that while you're driving along in Forza Motorsport 5 or Forza Horizon 2 or whatever game you like playing, your car, at some point, will spin out, but you'll get no warning of this. The vibration will not kick in. There is no vibration to kick in. There are no vibration motors in this wheel. That puts it behind the Xbox 360 controller, and it puts it well behind the Xbox One controller, because of the Xbox One controller's force feedback vibrational motors in the triggers, which both of those games utilise well. But with this, the car begins to spin out, and it's too late. You're already gone. Add to this, you can't correct it, because the most you can turn is that. You have no idea how frustrating it is to be stuck in a spin online, which you knew nothing about, and then that's the most you can correct it. It does absolutely nothing. Using this wheel will put you at a competitive disadvantage. Conva Best wanted to know whether the wheel worked with a PC. Now, it's only input as a USB, there is no power cable, and I have tried plugging it into my, I have a Microsoft Surface Pro, and drivers did install, but nothing lit up. You may be able to get it to work if you try a bit harder. I personally didn't try too much on it, because genuinely, with this wheel, it's just probably not worth it. But onto other things that I did like about the wheel, and that would be the design as well. I think it is a very nice wheel to look at. Despite it being on the small side, it does seem to be almost child size. Comfortable for those people with smaller hands like myself. And it has some nice rubberized grip there, which makes it comfortable to hold on to, if nothing else. If you're using it with a desk, the nice rubber feet are extremely, extremely sticky. They will stick onto anything, so if you do use it with a desk setup, I don't personally, but I know a lot of people that do, then I don't know, maybe it's worth considering this if you're on an absolute shoestring budget and you must play with a wheel. But really, there's not much I can recommend other than that. The shifters themselves are actually very good. Now, I play automatic for the most part, so I don't really use them, but I have no complaints about the shifters whatsoever. They've always done the job for me. I've had no issues with them at all when I used them, which wasn't for very long, to be honest. But they worked absolutely fine. I've had many, many, many complaints with this wheel, but the shifters really are not one of them. And Neil Cameron asked a question, which I guess everyone, to be honest, wanted to know. How does it play? Well, I'll get on to that more now, because I've got a couple of video clips for you to show, and I can talk about this wheel's shortcomings a little more. Enjoy. So like I said, on to actual gameplay. And this is me playing Forza Motorsport 5 with a wheel. Now, this was one of the first games I played with a wheel, and actually one of the first times I used a wheel. But I kept this recording about just to show you how tough it can be, how tough a slog, how awkward it can be to use this wheel at the start. Now, I started out, of course, by going my usual half lever, accelerating quickly, then going full throttle, braking quickly. With this wheel, you just cannot do that. If you do, the back will just go out and you'll spend so much time spinning, frustrating yourself. It's just not worth the hassle. So that's sort of more a tutorial there. But it results in you taking every corner so slowly. I tried using this wheel while online, and I normally finish fairly well in races, top 3 or so. But with this wheel, I was constantly finishing last. Especially, all it takes is one little bump, and it takes so long to correct yourself from a slide. And it's just so awkward, and you can't even feel yourself going, you don't even know you're getting nudged. It's one of the reasons I have to play in this view rather than my preferred first-person view. Because at least here, you can see when you're sliding, you can see when you're about to go, and you might have a shot of correcting it. But in first person, you're just a write-off. So, behind the car is really the only way to go. I mentioned it before. If you could turn the wheel more, maybe, just maybe, it would make it possible to correct the horrible, horrible, horrible spins you get. But unfortunately, that's not really a thing, so it's just hobbled by poor design. It's a comfortable wheel, it looks nice, the pedals work fine, but the lack of any vibration at all, not a single piece of vibrational feedback, and the fact that the wheel turns appalling 180 degrees, 90 degrees each way, just means that it's just absolutely useless for its design. You can't use it to race, not while having fun anyway. Not if you want to have fun. Now, I played with this wheel far longer than I recommend that anybody should. I mean, really, don't buy this wheel. But I kept playing, and I actually managed to get to a point where I was fairly competent with this wheel, and that'll come in later with a clip I've got of me playing Forza Horizon 2 with the Bugatti Veyron. But that took a lot of effort, and even then, I had to use it exclusively offline, because online, you get one tap, and you spun off, and you're out. And even using different cars was awkward. I'm using a Bugatti Veyron here, but if I switched, and I'm fairly competent at it on this video after using it for over a month, but if I switched to a different car, handles completely differently, and you're just absolutely screwed. You have to learn every track, you have to learn every corner, you have to learn every braking zone or have the braking line on for you. You have to learn how every car handles for it. I found Forza Horizon 2 to be more forgiving. I play with more assists on Forza Horizon 2. I had to actually turn my assists up on Forza Motorsport 5 because I was struggling so much with the wheel. I had to turn on traction control, and where I normally have it off I had to turn on ABS where I normally have it off. But on Forza Horizon 2 I play with those anyway, and I feel just the game itself is more forgiving, especially a car like the Veyron where the steering is less likely to spin you out. I feel racing at speed also actually helps on this wheel, because you're less likely to the back to just flip out in any random corner. So four-wheel drive cars fare far better. But overall, I cannot really recommend this wheel to anyone. It's fundamentally flawed. You're better off with a controller. If you want to get yourself a wheel, there are better options out there. There's a Thrustmaster 4580 Italia replica, not the cheap version. Don't get the cheap version. go for the expensive one. There's a Mad Catz wheel which I've seen some reviews for. It looks very, very good. Go for one of those. Save up your money. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe. You know what to do. See you soon.